Down at Kyalami in South Africa, the lions were listening to strange noises. Speed counts at Kyalami. On the long straight, the Formula One cars do 200 miles an hour and don't go very much slower through the subsequent curves. In practice, Piercarlo Ghinzani, going flat out through the Yusuke sweep for the first time with full tanks, clipped the curb. His Osella went up like Vesuvius. Manfred Winkelhock got out of his ATS and went to take a look. The Osella was atomized, but Ghinzani miraculously remained intact. Meanwhile, Patrick Tambay wiped his hot shoes so as not to soil the immaculate workings of the Renault team's space shot technology. A satellite link to the Élysée Palace. To the casual observer, Renault looked all weighed down with being up to date. Piquet was on the pole. He was still on it when everyone else went past. But by the first corner, he had caught up to Rosberg. After changing cars at the last minute, Prost had to start from the pit lane, the prelude to an epic drive. In the early stages, it was a question of how long Rosberg, whose Williams Honda was not handling to his liking, could hold off Piquet. Not long. Piquet scorched off ahead. Very soon his teammate Fabi was riding shotgun. For cars still fully loaded with fuel, the Brabhams were going awfully fast. But Lauda, who had started in a gentleman's 8th position, was working his way inexorably upward in what was to become part of his pattern. Fabi, having blistered his tyres with too much of that fuel-heavy initial speed, Lauda went by and closed on Piquet. Piquet put up his hand and begged to be excused. It was the same story as with Fabi. Tyres worn out early. Later on, both the Brabhams went out with engine trouble, which was to become the story of their lives. Prost, having made up much ground, gave some of it back when he came in for tyres, with Tambay just behind him. Lauda powered on at the front. Stops just for tyres weren't as much fun as the previous year's stops for fuel as well, but a quick change was still crucial. To emphasize the fact, Tambay took the quick way out through Prost's pit. Rosberg got away less smoothly. De Angelis came in, the Renault engine of his Lotus spitting fire through its turbo. Out on the road after a tyre change, Warwick overtook Alboreto, whose Ferrari was slowed by its own wing. which couldn't be set for speed or the car would have come off, like Beloff's Tyrrell. The Formula One car became a dirt track dragster, but the same shunt could have killed him if the dirt hadn't been there. Tom Bay ran out of petrol all over again and said things to the inside of his helmet, which must have caused red faces in his pit and back at the Renault factory, which was undoubtedly patched in on the same wavelength. Lauda headed for the finishing line. He got there a few yards and a whole lap before Warwick, who was nevertheless in third place. Prost had worked all the way up to second spot and was the only car on the same lap as his teammate. Anything as fast as the McLarens fell apart. Anything as reliable finished later.